So in our practice today, we're going to explore, it's a continuation of my series of practices around pausing for winter well-being. But what we are in particular going to look at today is a little celebration also of the winter solstice. So we're coming up to that in the next week, and it's an opportunity for us to acknowledge the dark, acknowledge the darkness, and we could do that in a literal sense in terms of the season, the shorter days that we've been experiencing. And also we could look at that more inwardly and potentially, there's been some dark times for us this year, and that might have manifested itself physically in you. So it's important to know how we feel, that there could be some sluggishness, there could be some heaviness, or even some feelings of negativity in some way. So it's important for us to kind of embrace those and work with them in our practice, and then welcome the light. So as we move forward through to the longer days, gradually, little by little, we're going to get some more daylight in our day, and it will lift us. So in our practice, we're going to explore our potential to be light, acknowledging that there is also darkness, but welcoming that feeling of lightness, like the radiance of the sun, or could just be in the breath, the feeling of lightness, and we take that into our movement. Okay, so let's begin. We're actually going to start on our stomachs today, something a little bit different for us, and you might like to place the blanket underneath your body just for some cushioning around the pelvis. I have a bolster, and that's probably about all we'll need today, is some kind of support to go underneath your bottom. So that could be a bolster, cushions, or a chair, and a blanket for when the body temperature drops. Okay, so coming to rest onto your front. Now, if resting onto your front isn't an option for you, or you just don't feel comfortable in this position, then you could come to rest onto your side or even onto your back. So placing your head onto your hands, you could place one hand on top of the other and then rest your forehead onto the hands. Just let your toes almost point towards one another. I'm turning my head towards the camera so that you can hear me more clearly, but you're welcome to place your forehead on the ground so that you're facing the earth. So just take a few moments to settle here. Just notice how you feel physically. Let your legs relax so your heels are turning away. Let your bottom relax. Space around your shoulders, your belly and your lower back. And just gradually become aware of that place beneath you, the kind of denseness of the earth and its replenishing qualities. I love to acknowledge the qualities of the earth in my practice every day, its capacity to renew and restore us. And as we give back to the earth gives back to us. So just welcome that sense of support that arrives. It's like you're rooting yourself towards that place as your body releases tensions and you settle here. And notice what it is that you are feeling in this moment. What are you aware of? Perhaps physically to begin with. So just thinking about what could be a sense of dullness or lethargy or tiredness, and where you feel that it would be useful for you to reawaken, for you to welcome some light into your body. And that could even just be in the space between your eyebrows or the crown of your head. Perhaps we're hoping to
gain some clarity from our practice today. Or it could be something more physical, like we have tension around the shoulders or in the lower back. So you're wanting to almost set an intention that you are welcoming light back into your body after some dullness. And then start to tune into the rhythm of your breathing and allow your breath to be soft and light. And as you exhale, notice how the body just hollows a little as you settle towards that great support of the earth beneath you. And as you breathe in, just welcome with it a sense of lightness, a sense of energy into your body. Let's just trace the breath from the top of your spine as you inhale down to your belly, and notice how your belly expands, pressing into the earth. And then as you begin the exhale, notice how the belly softens away from the earth as you hollow the breath out along the spine, past your throat, past your nose, into the space around you, and perhaps even into the space through the crown of your head. So breathe in from the top of your spine through to the belly. Notice how the body becomes a little more expansive with the breath, more spacious. This is where we can begin to reconnect, to reawaken. And then breathe out and begin to hollow and release. And just follow that breath back out through the nostrils and then out through the crown of your head. Just creating space in your body for that lightness of breath to arrive once again. Just gradually begin to deepen your inhalations so the light is even more expansive. There's a sense of the sun radiating. I like to think sometimes that the in-breath is just swimming around your body, touching every cell, bringing a sense of light and joy. And then with each exhale, we can slowly release those tensions that are unnecessary to us. What do we hope to release, and what do we hope to welcome? Okay. So let's just bring ourselves up slowly onto all fours, and you're welcome to keep your support there underneath the knees and your wrists. In particular, if you are tender around the knees and you just want to soften the padding under your wrists a little. Now, have your hips, your knees in line with one another, and your shoulders and your wrists in line with one another. And I'd like you to spend a few moments just pressing into the earth here. And gradually begin to welcome a sense of support around your abdomen, so you draw the belly in towards the spine. On your next exhale, press into the ground, draw the belly in. And then on the in-breath, with that sense of lightness, let your heart space lift and expand and your sit bones spread, almost as if they're stretching out towards the wall behind you. On the exhale then, around your spine up towards the sky. It's arc-like in its shape. As you breathe in, welcome that lightness, sense of length and spaciousness along the spine. You can release your chin if that feels safe for you to do so. On the exhale then, begin to draw the chin in, the belly in, and then round through. You could press into the earth a little here, just reaffirm that rootedness. And then again, inhaling. And then exhaling. And just take your time to explore this with your breath for a few more rounds. Be gentle and kind in your practice today. Honor yourself that. And then when you feel ready, just come back to neutral with your belly lightly drawing in towards the spine. And take a breath in here. And as you exhale, begin to C-shape your hip and your shoulder towards one another, so you stretch across the waist and the rib cage on the opposite side. And then on the exhale, explore the movement in the opposite way. So it's your pelvis and your shoulder. It's almost like you're peeking over your shoulder, looking towards your hips, stretching the opposite side of your body. And we can take an inhale in one direction and an exhale in the opposite direction. Just be aware of the difference between your left side and your right side. And again, just reawakening what feels as though it could just do with a little more space here, a little more light. And then I'd like you to combine those two movements. So we go round and then we circle and we come into that arch with the spine, and then we look over the left shoulder, the left pelvis towards one another, and then we expand along the spine in the opposite way. So you're circling your spine, but combining that C-like shape on each side, and then in between we're either lifting up on the exhale towards the sky with the spine, or we're expanding along the front of the body, finding space along the spine on the inhale. And maybe 3 or 4 times in one direction, and then 3 or 4 times in the opposite direction. And we're not breaking out into any vast circles here, but I'd like you to start exploring whichever kind of circling action feels more useful for you. So maybe a little more opening around the pelvis is required. And all the while just being aware of that support beneath you from the earth. And when you've completed, just coming back to neutral, just give your wrists a little shake out here. So I'm just going to take my socks off, but you're welcome to keep yours on if you're wearing them. And I'm going to remove my support, but again, you're welcome to keep your blanket in place there. We're going to continue with some all fours. So thinking about working with opposite arm, opposite leg, let's start with the exhalation. So start to guide your left knee in towards the belly, and then see how it feels to guide the right elbow in. If you feel a little too unsteady here, just work with the leg, and then at some point we could think about incorporating the arm. So as you exhale, elbow and knee come towards one another, or just the knee towards the belly, and the right hand and the left hand stay on the ground. On the in-breath then, lengthen the fingertips and the toes away from one another. Draw the belly in, so really start to ignite your inner flame here, your inner fire in the gut as you exhale. Almost like you're squeezing in through the abdomen to draw your elbow and your knee towards one another. And we're just going to start generating some heat in our system with the healing tone of the breath. And I'd like you to explore this maybe 1 or 2 more times with your breathing. Try not to sway from one side to the other. And when you've completed, let your right hand to your left knee reach the ground, and we'll prepare to do the same on the opposite side. So let's start with the exhale. Draw the belly in, an active exhale. Left elbow, right knee. Inhale the two away from one another. So really explore that diagonal line from your fingertips to the toes or the heel. You could push the heel away from your bottom so you activate the leg. And then think about the abdomen firing on the exhale as you draw in. And you may just be working with one leg, and then at some stage you might find you can begin to incorporate the movement with the opposite arm as well. Just take your time to do so. And again, once or twice more here. Just explore your light, your length as you inhale, and then your heat, your support as you exhale. place your hands down, your knees down, and then take your hips back towards a child's pose. And you're welcome to rest your head onto your hands with your hips raised, especially if you find child's pose is quite restricting for you. So bringing your hands then to your lower back, and just let your inhalation lift your chest away from your thighs, and then let the exhalation roll you back again. Each time you inhale in this posture, coming up to kneeling, invite light around your heart and along your spine. So your inner sun is radiating with each in-breath. Start to rise a little. We could begin to include the arms, and then on the exhale, come back down to the earth. Try this with your eyes closed as well. Just go inward into the feeling of the practice. I'm coming up a little bit higher now onto the knees. Just trying not to make contact with my Christmas tree as I go. Inhale, and I always say just make sure you have space to move your arms freely, because sometimes when I'm recording I don't quite have the space myself. Okay, let's do this once more. So a vast inhale, invite that lightness, sun radiating around the heart, along the spine, and then you're tall through to your fingertips, and just let the abdomen draw in for support. And then explore a little further with that sense of radiating sun into your heart space as you lift your collarbones, your chest, your ribcage away from your pelvis. Draw the belly in as you exhale for support. And then I'm going to invite you to take this on an exhale into a forward fold. Be really mindful, draw the belly in. Come into your inner heat as you exhale, lower down, hands, elbows onto the ground. As you breathe in, come through onto all fours. And then on the exhale, tuck the toes under and lift your knees a little way off the ground. Take a breath in here, pause. And then on the exhale, take your pelvis up towards the sky and then diagonally towards the wall behind you. Exhale again and lower the heels towards the ground. Inhale, roll onto the toes, lower the knees, come back onto all fours. Exhale, the pelvis back. Okay, so repeating this sequence as we breathe in, coming onto all fours. And then on the exhale, tuck the toes under, lift the knees a little way, draw the belly in, come back into that internal flame. Take a breath in, invite lightness, strength into your system. And then exhale and slowly take your pelvis up and away, like you're drawing a line diagonally away from your hands towards the tip of your pelvis. It inhales towards the sky, and then on the exhale we begin to work through the legs into the heels towards the earth. So you're more triangular in your shape. Inhale to release. We'll take that once more. Exhale to lower down. So breathing in onto all fours. Breathing out, we come into that core position with the knees lifted, really strong around the abdomen. The in-breath keeps you there. And then the out-breath, we slowly begin to lift and lengthen through the pelvis, and then let your next in-breath animate the spine, animate the pelvis away from your hands, and then as you exhale, invite a sense of heaviness into your heels as you expand them towards the earth. Now let's see if we can stay in our down dog. If you'd prefer to work dynamically, come back through that sequence once again. Otherwise, start to pulse through the heels, so opposite knee bends as the heel releases. And let's just work with a simple feeling of light, heavy. And you could invite the light into the knee as you lift the heel,
and the heavy into the heel as you lower on the opposite side. And just let the two play with one another for a few more moments before you begin to walk your hands and your feet towards one another, and you come into a forward fold. Soften your knees. Really snuggle into your forward fold. You could take a hold of your arms, come into that forward fold hug. I've been working with this for the past 6 weeks. I just love how we could take a hug into a forward fold. The abdomen draws in as you exhale. And then remember that sense of the sun radiating, that sense of lightness that arrives. Let's just take baby breaths. Inhale, exhale, and slowly release the arms. And with each inhale, we're getting a little lighter. We're becoming more radiant. And you take that into your heart, along your spine, and we slowly start to extend ourselves upright. Inhaling, exhaling, inhaling, exhaling, until we inhale the fingertips up towards the sun. And again, we're really light and long here. And just as we did in that kneeling posture, let's think about inhaling and lifting the heart. It's almost like you're sending your heart in the direction of the sun. So we start to work with extension along the spine. A slight back bend. Exhale, draw the belly in. Sigh the breath. Release your hands beside you, and then bring yourself into a neutral position. Just be spacious here. Steady with your breathing. Welcome that sense of lightness as you inhale. Letting go of heaviness as you exhale. Okay, so let's work into a warrior sequence, and it's going to include some forward folding as well. So turn your right toes out a little and take a step forwards with your left foot. Now really planting down through the back foot so that the thigh is active, and then soften into your front knee. You may need to just readjust your position so you feel more central through the spine, over the pelvis, over the feet. So that could just be bringing your front foot out to the left a little, just so you feel more evenly placed here. So let's work with Ujjayi breathing, that internally heating breath, which is also really calming and focusing for the nervous system. So draw the chin in a little towards the throat and start sounding the breath like that ocean sound like quality. As you breathe in, extend your arms in the direction of the sky. As you exhale, bring your elbows into a cactus position as you bend your front knee. On the in-breath, lift into your heart and expand a little. Let that sun radiate along the spine. And then on the out-breath, begin to lean forwards and bring your arms beside you. So you draw the belly in. It's almost like you're drawing a straight line diagonally from your heel to the crown of your head, like you're pushing the crown of your head into the wall straight in front of it. You could draw a line there. Take a breath in here. And then on the exhale, hands come towards the ground, or you could place them onto your lower back. Your front knee at this stage begins to move towards straight. As you breathe in, come to your fingertips and lengthen your spine, or you could keep your hands on your lower back as you do this. So you're lengthening along the spine. This time the crown of your head is pushing towards the wall in front of you. And then on the out breath, soften
yourself into a forward fold. So you release the spine, release your belly towards your front thigh. As you breathe in, bend the front knee again. Come back into warrior, arms alongside your ears. Exhale, lower the arms beside you. Okay, so we're going to take this pattern a few times so you become familiar with the sequence. So breathing in with the arms alongside the ears. Exhale, front knee bends, draw the belly in. Inhale with a sense of lightness along the spine, into the heart. Exhale, draw the belly in, arms sweep alongside your body. And then breathe in, and you could start to extend them alongside your ears. Really press down into the back foot. This time as you exhale, forward fold. Hands come either to your lower back or alongside your front foot. Inhale, coming to your fingertips if your hands are on the ground. As you lengthen along the spine, lift your chest. And then exhale, draw the belly in again, forward fold. As you breathe in, your arms come alongside your ears, lift the chest again, come back into your warrior, and then exhale, lower the arms down. Once more, inhale the arms, exhale, front knee bends, elbows kind of shoulder level. Take a breath in, lift into your shape, invite that lightness into your body. Exhale, draw the belly in, forward lean, so you're looking about 1 meter in front of you with your gaze, and then see how it feels to start playing with the arms alongside your ears as you breathe in. Press down into your back foot, and then exhale, front leg towards straight, hands towards the ground or your lower back. Forward fold. Inhale, come to the fingertips, lengthen along the spine. Exhale, back into that forward fold again. Soften your neck. Inhale, release the arms. Bring yourself back up into warrior. Exhale, this time hands to heart. Front leg towards straight. Step your feet back together. Just pause here for a few moments and breathe freely. Really be aware of that left side of your body into the right side of your body as well, so you notice the difference having worked on one side to the other. And then come into the breath. From the top of your spine, inhale down into your belly, let your belly soften. And then begin to draw the belly in as you exhale. Follow the breath along the spine, through the nostrils or then out through the crown of your head. Invite a sense of clarity, a sense of lightness, of feeling. Turn your left toes out a little. Take a step forwards with your right foot. Same sequence on the opposite side. As you breathe in, your arms extend up towards the sky. On the exhale, bending your front knee, arms come into a cactus position. Breathe in, lift a little, stretch through the back thigh. And then on the exhale, pressing into the feet, draw the belly in, you forward lean. Take a breath in here. Exhale, front leg towards straight. Forward fold. On the in-breath, come to the fingertips or keep your hands on your lower back as you lengthen along the spine. Keep your chin drawn in. Exhale, draw the belly in, forward fold. Inhale, front knee bends, arms alongside your ears into warrior. Exhale, bring yourself back home to your starting point. Breathing in. Maybe, how does it feel to smile in your practice? Breathing out, draw the belly in. So we're working with this posture to heat, to energize. Inhale to welcome strength and lightness in our body. And then exhale. And also joy. On the next in-breath, where can we go? Arms could come to shoulder level, or you may find
extend alongside the ears. And then on the out breath, forward fold. Release into that space. Stretch along front leg, stretch along the back. Inhale, energize the spine, lengthen with lightness. Exhale, forward fold. On the next in-breath, come back into warrior. And then exhale, coming back to your starting point once more. Inhale the arms. Exhale, warrior. Elbows bent. Inhale, light along the spine, heavy through the feet. Exhale, draw the belly in, arms alongside your waist. They could point behind you. And then begin to explore lightness along the arms. On the in-breath, really pressing into the feet for support. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, rise. Fingertips, spine is long. Exhale again. Forward fold, release. And then breathe in, come back into your warrior shape. Exhale, this time hands to heart, front leg towards straight. Step your feet back together. And then pause here as you breathe in. Pause as you breathe out. Inhale from the top of your spine to your belly. Invite a softness, a lightness around the abdomen. Exhale, begin to activate the abdomen as you draw the belly into your internal fire, your internal flame and heat. Follow the breath out into the space around you. It's almost like when that exhalation occurs, we're emptying, emptying. And then there is suddenly space in the body for the in-breath to come with that sense of renewal, that sense of lightness, touch. And then on your next exhale, sigh. And then bring your feet into parallel wide leg stance. So thinking about our internal flame, our internal heat, we're going to work with standing twist. So feet are in a wide leg stance. Let's bring hands over the heart space. And as you breathe in, extend your arms out at shoulder level. As you exhale then, fold forwards towards the ground. Let your knees soften. Your hands can come to the ground, or you could place them onto your lower back. When the in-breath arrives, extend your arms out at shoulder level. Let your fingertips spread themselves. When your next exhale comes, right hand towards left leg. Left hand places onto lower back, or you could extend the arm up towards the sky. Inhale halfway, arms come out, you unravel, so you're in that halfway position. Exhale, left hand towards right leg or the ground, and then right arm onto your lower back or up towards the sky. Unravel halfway, exhale, forward fold, draw the belly in. Inhale, come up to stand. Arms out. Okay, exhale, back again. So forward fold on the exhale, the abdomen draws in, the knees soften. The in-breath, lengthen along the spine, arms out at shoulder level. The out-breath, right arm towards left leg, left arm onto lower back, or you could think about extending that arm up towards the sky. And then unravel as you breathe in and come back central, keeping your spine elevated. Exhale the opposite way. Soften the knee on the side that you rotate towards so that your belly can begin to reach the thigh on that side. As you come out on the in-breath, unraveling the spine, and then exhale, forward fold.
Soften the knees. Inhale, come up to standing. Press through the feet, and we'll run through that sequence once more. Exhaling. Inhale along the spine, arms out at shoulder level. Exhale, right arm towards the left side, left arm towards the sky, keeping your chest open. And then inhale, unravel yourself, center. Exhale, the opposite side. Press in. You might find just pressing the hand into the ground activates length along the arm, length along the spine. Breathe in, expand into that halfway position. Exhale, this time forward fold. Soften the knees. Your hands could come onto your lower back, or you could let them rest onto the outer edges of your legs or onto the ground. If they're coming onto the ground, just start walking them back so that they're parallel with the toes. Your fingertips are parallel with the toes. And then invite a softness into the elbows. Let your feet root and anchor themselves. Send that energy along the legs into the pelvis as you breathe in, lengthen. And then on the exhale, draw the belly in towards the spine, and then let the crown of your head find space towards the earth. And soften. Light on the in-breath, heavy, letting go on the out-breath. Slowly unravel yourself to come upright, soften your knees as much as you need to, and then step your feet back together. Pause here for a few breaths, hands over heart. Just invite a sense of spaciousness back into your breathing. Follow the breath from the top of your spine to your belly as you inhale. And then as you exhale, drawing the belly in, follow the breath out through the nostrils and then out through the crown of your head. Invite the spaciousness, clarity, lightness into your mind. And then as you breathe in, take your arms up towards the sky with that feeling of lightness again. And just imagine the sun. The sun may or may not be out today, but just imagine your fingertips are reaching towards the light and warmth of the sun. And then on the exhale, let's do this like we did earlier. We exhale, inhale, so we do it really slowly. Start to forward fold. You could bring your hands alongside you and start to roll down, soften the knees. So we're inviting that heaviness again, but we're light and we're heavy as we breathe in. Lightness, breathe out, letting go. Allow that heaviness to pull you towards the earth. Softly and kindly, so it's still there, the darkness is still there, but it's soft and kind. We're welcoming it in with a sense of lightness, that sense of possibility. Start to bend the knees, so you lower your bottom. You may find there's a certain point where you need to lift your heels off the ground and just pause into a ball-like shape, so you're almost like a little pebble or a stone. Really release into that shape. You might even notice there's a slight drawing, lowering of the pelvis towards the earth. Just let that soften and stretch into your lower back. And then lower your bottom. And we are going to move on to the back of our body. As you come onto the back of your body, just notice how that feels. We don't spend enough time here in our day-to-day lives, just resting and allowing ourselves to be and feel. Pause and grant yourself permission to be here, supported and resting on your back. So check that you have room for your arms to go out at shoulder level. And one by one, draw your knees in over your belly. Now you might find it useful to place a support such as a cushion to your right and a cushion to your left. So just take your time to have that in place for you, so that when we come to stay in our twist, we don't necessarily have to strain ourselves towards the ground. We're supported rather than feeling as though there is tension in the legs. In us being in that position, we can allow ourselves to release. So just ensure you have that support there. Come back to Ujjayi breathing, that soft ocean sound-like quality of breath in your throat. And your arms press onto the ground, so notice you're supported along the arms here, along the back of your body. Take a breath in, and as you exhale, start to hug your knees up towards your right elbow. They don't need to go there, but they're just moving in that direction. And then on the in-breath, hug them in over your belly and bring yourself back center. On the exhale, hug them in again, draw the abdomen in towards the spine and take them towards your left elbow. And then inhale and hug them in over your belly. So think about a little bit of control around your abdomen here. If you find that the legs just begin to flop, try and keep that control in so they're not coming all the way down to the ground. There's some effort in your abdomen in supporting your spine into that movement so the legs just aren't rolling from one side to the other. And twisting postures are a really good way for us to generate internal heat and to work with eliminating waste. So physical waste could be thought of as our digestive functioning and our cycle in terms of menstruating. And there's also a lot of emotion that we hold on to in our gut. So we could symbolically think of undoing, releasing and letting go of tensions that are physically and emotionally manifested here. So the next time that you come over to the right hand side, let's think about placing that support underneath the legs if you need it there, so that your feet can relax onto the ground. And you might find it useful to place your right hand onto the top of your left thigh, and then if it's okay for your neck, just roll the head along the left arm and soften the left elbow. Really let that arm relax. I'd like you to stay here now for up to 6 breaths. This is a long stay in our twist. We're going to pause in this shape so that you can breathe into the possibility. Where do you feel it would be useful for you to reconnect, for you to welcome that lightness back into your body? So it could be around your shoulders or your hips. Or it could be something more emotional than that, into your belly or your heart. And you're inviting spaciousness there, lightness, welcoming the sun, welcoming warmth and kindness. And then as you exhale, soften and let go. You might even be able to
find that moment of pause at the end of the exhale when you've softened and released. And then you can welcome that renewing quality of the in-breath once more. Inhale to bring the knees center when you've taken those breaths. Pause. And then the next time you exhale, hug the knees in again and take them over to left side. And if it's possible or comfortable rather, just roll your head to the right. You could take a hold of your right thigh, just really gently place it there so you're not pulling yourself into this position in any way. And then on the right arm, if you find that shoulder is lifted, soften the elbow, soften the palm, and a further 4 breaths or so now. And again, just welcome into your twist with that intention of reconnecting, reigniting, reawakening. As you breathe in, where would you like that intention to go? And then as you exhale, just really soften into that place, let go, whether it's physical or emotional, just have a sense that you're releasing into your rotation. You may like to let your eyes close also. And then when you've taken those breaths, unravel yourself slowly, bring yourself back with the knees over the belly, just let them pause there. Place one hand on top of each knee, let your chin draw in towards your throat, and a soft inhale, the knees roll away. Gentle exhale and the knees drift in. Draw the belly in. So take this now 5 more times or so with your breathing, and be kind and gentle with each inhale and each exhale. And you can be so light here with your touch, with your breath. Light, light as you breathe in. Let go, release as you breathe out softly. A few more times in this way. So once we've taken this posture, I'm going to do a short relaxation, and then we will come to do some seated work at the end of the practice. So just prepare yourselves now to rest onto your backs. You may even find that you'd like to come back onto your belly again. So just making that choice. Provide cushioning underneath your knees or your ankles or your head. You may like to have a blanket also, so just make sure you're as comfortable as you can be, and just slowly let go here for a few moments. Something that you may like to try is just a little pulse in the feet, where you draw your toes towards you and away again and pulse into the heels, and just let that ripple into your body. It's quite wave-like in its action, really soft. And then slowly let that settle as your feet roll out to the side. Just be absorbed by the practice now. Just let your breath become natural and soft. So light. Every time you breathe in, you're just welcoming a possibility, a potential of lightness and growth or expansion. And every time you breathe out, then just think about letting go tensions, worries, concerns, You may know what they are. You may wish to acknowledge what's there. There is still darkness, there is still heaviness, but we always have that potential to become lighter in some way. Yoga provides us with space to explore our own possibilities. So maybe you'd like to take a few moments to acknowledge what those possibilities have been for you today in your practice. That could just be feeling a little clearer in ourselves, knowing. It could be that we noticed we were holding on unnecessarily, and that we have that potential and possibility to release and move on from that tension. Or it could be that we know a little further about what we may want from the rest of our day, with a sense of clarity and lightness. The confusing parts perhaps have been left behind with the tensions. Over the next few moments, I'd like you to slowly reawaken and just stretch in a way that feels pleasant for you. And just gradually bring yourself up to sit into a comfortable seat of your choice. And that could be on a chair, cross-legged, or kneeling in some way, just allowing your spine to become elevated. And we'll just close our practice with a gesture of giving and receiving. Let your palms raise so that they are soft, your elbows are lifted, they're parallel to the ground. And as you begin to inhale, draw the palms towards one another with a sense of lightness, and then away from one another with a sense of openness. Let your heart smile or become radiant towards the sun. Pause here as you breathe out and have a sense that you are receiving, you're receptive to the possibility, potential of your inner light, your own journey, your own path. And then on the next exhale, turn the palms down again, draw the chin in, and just have a sense that you're letting go and releasing here of anything that is unnecessary to you in this moment. And then again, so you begin to breathe in and you start welcoming the possibility, welcoming the potential of your own light, your own path, and where that may take you. And then you exhale and you receive into that lightness. And then breathe in and again just become a little more open, a little more spacious to the possibility before the exhale allows you to let go and release towards the earth. And we'll do that once more. And just taking this in silence now for yourselves, what your possibility or lightness may be. And then turning the palms down and releasing to let go. Let your hands rest at the heart center, one hand over the other. Just follow your breathing naturally in
and naturally out. With each in-breath, welcome the possibility of your own lightness, your own path. Sense of joy and freedom that comes with that. And then with each exhale, you soften. Perhaps there is some acceptance as you let go. And then breathe in again. So always come back to that feeling of lightness with each in-breath. And that lightness could then take you into an expansive joy, an expansive peace or kindness. And then with each exhale, just gently accepting, gently letting go. I'm just going to close with a poem. Open up to all the small miracles you rushed through. Draw alongside the silence of stone until its calmness can calm you. Be excessively gentle with yourself. So thank you very much for practicing with me. I wish you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. I could have broke out into song then, but I didn't. I really hope that you find the time to nourish yourselves and explore some new and exciting possibilities as we move through into 2021. And yeah, hopefully our days will feel a little lighter and brighter as we go. So thank you so much once again, and take care of yourselves.